Hello friends, Jennifer Pearson here, Thistle Gypsy. And it's a beautiful day here in Alabama, northeast Alabama in the United States. And just got done taking my big dog for a walk. And it's time to face the Ceccoli Tarot. So I say it like that because the artwork of this deck, I've looked it up online in the past, and I just thought, this is really weird. This is really weird. Why do people like this so much? It's really weird and perverse. And so what I did, but then I looked at it again when I was looking for decks. What I was finding, let's put it this way, and I got the mini, this little tiny thing, and because I didn't want to invest if I was going to be repulsed by the deck. And let me compare this. It is really tiny. This is the Centennial in a Tin. This is a great size, and I thought that this deck, although it's a low Scarabeo, this is, I believe, US Games. So this, which I believe is also considered a mini deck, whoops, I've already got one of those, is a great size. This is a great size for shuffling, is a general card size. Look at how tiny this is. It truly is a mini. It truly could fit comfortably in a pocket, certainly in a purse. Whereas, you know, the Centennial in a Tin, it's more like a regular deck of cards, which I have a bicycle deck. You know, bicycle decks, similar to, except this is going to be a little thicker, but in size. Let me take another card out. Bicycle deck might be a little wider. Yep. A little wider. This card is a little taller. And then again, regular bicycle deck of cards. And it's a little tiny. It's a little tiny. So it ends up being so tiny, and it's a little difficult to really see all of, I mean, they're not cards that are overwhelmingly detailed, but still. So back to the story of why I got this deck. All right, so I just wanted to clarify, you know, if people want, you know, are like, I don't even look at a video with a mini, that's not what I want to do. Obviously, I can put it nice and up and close so that you guys can see it, but still. So how I came to the Ceccoli was this. In my love readings, I was wanting to give people something that had to do more with desire or sexuality, without being totally overt, without getting a Decameron tarot or there's another sexually oriented tarot that I can't remember the name of. There's 2 or 3 that I've seen. And, you know, I don't mind them, but if I were to ever use them in this setting, or even putting them on my website, you end up, if you have something that's overtly sexual, is you end up, the image being overtly sexual, is that you end up with a problem with the image that search engines have of what you do. So it's not the image. Most of my viewers are mature women. That the vast majority, like 75% of my viewers, are mature women, right? So I don't expect mature women to be freaked out, scared of, you know, overly worried about. I mean, anybody who's had abuse can have triggers, but I don't expect them to be freaked out about sexual imagery or nudity, for that matter, or things of that nature. But, you know, if those things appear on your video or on your website, there's searches. The web, you know, the search engines. They're going to pick up on that, and they're going to adjust things. They're going to, either they're going to start showing me a bunch of pornography that I don't want to see, or they're going to lump me into a category, like just speaking as I am right now will probably create a glitch in my, speaking frankly, will probably create a glitch in whether or not my videos are being shown to other people just because I'm talking about this. And you may not be aware of the fact that that these things, I'm speaking on a video, but that spoken language is being picked up, is being analyzed by search engines. I guarantee it. One time I had my webcam on, but I wasn't connected. Just like right now, I'm recording on my computer. I'm not connected to the internet per se. I don't have a well, I think I did have that up. So I had my Firefox up, and I was going to do something live. I was about to do something live, but I wasn't live. I wasn't being broadcast anywhere. It was in standby. It was in standby status, and I had to change my shirt. I wanted to change my shirt. And I stepped aside, but apparently I didn't step aside enough, and I changed my shirt. And the next time I got online on YouTube, I was shown a bunch of pornography. And, I wasn't nude underneath my shirt. I had stuff on. So there you go. If you're online and you've got there's a little signal on your webcam that says that the webcam is on, even if you feel like you're not live, nobody's viewing you, search engines are viewing you, just so that you know. So I had that issue, and yet I still feel like it's really healthy to talk about sexuality, and I feel like it's fine to talk about it, and fun even to talk about it in terms of cards or predictions, or trying to understand what another person wants or what another person's hesitations might be. And but it can get out of hand. There are people who get off on this kind of stuff in an unhealthy way. And so what I discovered, and so I'd kind of given up the idea and said, oh, whatever. But then I ended up with the Wildwood Tarot, which at one point I told people, I think this is a masculine deck. And where I went, even though it's trying not to be, that's a whole nother video, that to me it came across as a masculine deck. And I had some other people say, yes, I agree that this is the more recent Wildwood Tarot. And so I thought to myself, well, at that point I was in a relationship. It was kind of in, I would say, in a rocky stage. It was, it was blah. It was on the way down. But we were kind of exploring some things and dabbling as we faded out. And I found that deck was actually quite good at predicting what he was wanting or thinking, or it was reflecting kind of where we were at sexually. If you interpreted it if you interpreted it in that way, it could be done with that deck. It made quite a bit of sense. And so I thought, okay, well, I could use the Wildwood with that, in that way. And then the question became, all right, well, if I have a deck that I can do that for men, the masculine perspective, what the man wants, then I need something that has to do with what the woman wants or needs. And I went looking. I really like, and some of the ones I like are on the more expensive end. Is it the Lover's Path? Maybe there's that one. Universal Goddess Tarot struck me as maybe something that could be used that way, but I don't own these decks. I just get online and I do a Google image search and just look through the images of the deck online. And that's the point at which I rethought the Ceccoli Tarot. And the reason that I rethought the Ceccoli Tarot is because I think this is what struck me, is that one of my favorite tarot readers here on YouTube, who does monthly tarot readers, every now and then she'll do something more like a mid-month or something like that, but it's not real common. But she does her monthlies, and I can't remember her name. Can I even remember the name of her channel? It's Alexandra Vivite. It's like Latin or something. No, it's not going to come. Anyway, she one time she used, I think it was only one time, she used the Ceccoli Tarot for her love readings, because her monthly readings are love readings. And they made sense, and it was amusing, and it was making kind of sexual sense, because I think more than one of these cards shows a girl with a whip or a girl being spanked. And so it was like that sort of sexual innuendo, and at first she wasn't taking it that way, and then she stopped and said, well, of course, if you like that sort of thing, it's okay. So maybe that was what, maybe that came back into my mind or something when I was thinking about a deck. And so, probably late some evening, I thought, well, I'm not ready to go to bed yet. Let me look at images of the Ceccoli Tarot for this possibility. And I looked at it and I thought, yeah, it could work. It's still weird, but it could work. So I haven't decided whether or not I'm going to keep it in that regard. As I go through it with you here, as I do a walkthrough, this will be only my second time of looking through the images, and this might be the better time because I'm going to be holding them up close to the webcam, and I might be able to see them better than I could the first time. They're still in order. I haven't shuffled them. I will do a deck interview with them, definitely. So, but I'll have to do a lot of shuffling, so I won't do that in this. I'll just do, at this point, and I'm not going to start talking about how I would interpret them in a sexual manner. But you'll notice that I notice that, it's like, well, this, there are things going on in the lower half and sometimes the upper half of the body, okay, that are a little bit provocative or suggestive, even though they're little girls. And that's the thing that it kind of doesn't work very well for me, is that they look like little girls, and yet they sometimes have these sexual connotations to me. So and then there's this bug thing. There's this bug thing going on, which also kind of creeps me out. So I'm not sure. But I'm going to sit with it for a little bit, because then I got the cheap one just to see. I didn't feel like I could afford one of the more expensive ones at this time. And I will say this, I'm not going to be doing this as videos here. If I decide to do this sort of sexual, well, maybe I'd say erotic more than sexual, sort of reading, then I'm not going to do it here on YouTube. I will do it on my website. Maybe I'll do it through live chat or something like that. I haven't decided. I think if I were to do it here, I would get a lot of unsavory attention. So just a walkthrough. It's like the Wheel of Fortune. She's pinned on it. You know, this is some of the creepiness of this. She's a butterfly pinned to it. And I think that it's, and of course it's a spiral, like it's the lollipop in the background, and it's like, you know, somebody's been throwing daggers at her. You're lucky to be alive. That must be the strength. So to me this is quite, this card actually amuses me. But a lot of the cards to me are quite dark. This I like. So I think that's Temperance. This is pretty darn freakish. I don't know. All I can say is I'm glad I don't have Nicoletta Ceccoli's imagination. That's all I've got to say. I'm glad these things don't happen to me. You know, that's kind of interesting. Again, in terms of all of, I would say, roadblocks to anything sexual with someone. I kind of like that one too. Again, a little freakish. Why skeletons in the water? Is she in like a toxic lake or something? And, you know, that's sweet. This is the sun, and certainly to me, with bees buzzing all around in that particular area, it has a sexual connotation. This, again, you know, wanting to enter the maze, apparently to get into her lower body parts. You know, it's... Is it just me? I know there are other people who think it's kind of creepy, but... There's also the, you know, the fact that the little girls often look so doll-like, and here they've got the little doll, all the dolls, and it's like, the reason I didn't want it as a general deck is that to me this is actually not me as a little girl. Did I play with dolls some? Yes, but I was climbing trees. I was out pretending to be a horse. I do like that. I think that's a very fun card. Okay. And that's the Five of Cups. So to me, that's very different to Five of Cups. I find this very interesting. To me, this is almost like a Lover's card, or when the Temperance card is considered the Lover's card, because of, you know, he has the head of the bird and she has the body of the bird. Anyway, interesting. I'll have to go through this when I'm finished doing this and just pick out ones that are romantic. Like normally to me, although this is a cat, it's not a man, it's nothing masculine. Well, I don't know, is the cat masculine? Maybe a little bit. Can't get it to focus. There it is. You know, so that could be a child. That's the Six of Cups. So it could be a child, you know, the affection of a child for a pet. But, you know, it's, I don't know, it's got a romantic feel to it, to me. And so some of them that wouldn't normally have a romantic aspect, like the Five of Cups. And to me, that's Six of Cups. I kind of like the fact that the Two of Cups is not, in fact, does not appear, unless you take it to be lesbian. It's two girls. But that could be love of the self, love of your femininity, you know, any of those things. I like that. Let me see if there's any others that... And this is the majors, primarily. I do even like the fact that the Lover's card doesn't have a partner in it, and in fact has that snake, which could be kind of Kundalini rising, you know, that the I would call it like high-spirited energy that ends up being attracted, also sensual, but doesn't require another person. That sensuality doesn't require another person. It's a matter of kind of your own health. You know, and how about that? You know, having black birds in your lower parts, or as your, you know, emptiness except for black birds. That's the Eight of Cups. My understanding, and I haven't read the guidebook, but I think I read something about this before I got it. And it's just a little, obviously, in this case, a tiny white book. More than a little white, but a tiny white book. I don't know if it'll even be readable. But somewhere I had read that, or maybe I didn't read it, maybe it was somebody else who'd done a review who had read it and said that these were, she didn't make the art for the tarot, but rather, you know, somebody had gone through, or maybe she had gone through her art and chosen certain ones for the cards. So that may be, you know, why this is not very reminiscent of the Eight of Cups. Except, you know, maybe wanting to fly away. If you are a fan of this deck, I would really be curious to know if you use it for general readings, because it shows mostly little girls, if you use it for young people. Would you give this to a young person? I was kind of looking at it and thinking, well, I could maybe see giving this to a girl who's maybe 13, between 12 and 14, because that's a time when, you know, you're getting boobs, I mean, I kind of developed early, but, you know, you've got those, you're dealing with it, your menstruation, you know, all of this stuff, where in many ways it doesn't feel very friendly, that transition in your relationship with your body. Again, you know, she's kind of lifting her skirts here. She's the Page of, I believe it's the Page, or it's the Knight. No, it's the Page. Page of Cups. Here's one of the whips. In this case, the woman wielding it. Odd, again, an odd card for the Page of Cups. That isn't. I would have said that, or the Knight of Cups. I would have said that would be more the Knight of Wands, but we'll have to see what the Knight of Wands has. This is very cute for the Queen of Cups. And interesting for the King of Cups. But again, if you start to think about that as what her body, you know, is, what's happening, you know, if that dress is sort of an extension of her body, then what is happening? Is she suffering an invasion? is that, you know, it looks like the dragon is actually guarding her. And if this lower part of the body is what you are, then there's birds. I don't know if that bird is nesting or had sort of invaded. It's a gourd woman, gourd girl. Some funny things. Alright, we're into Pentacles. That's the Ace of Pentacles. Gourd girl is the Ace of Pentacles. The worminess of this is interesting to me. Now that's supposed to be the caterpillar. This is clearly Alice in Wonderland. Sort of a thing. But she also looks like a larva there. You know, to me there's something sort of weirdly threatening there. And here is like, owie. This is the Five of Pentacles. So this would be, I would see this as more like the Three of Swords or something. This bird is like taking something out of her chest, incising. Ugh. Ugh. Okay. Six of Pentacles. She's the cat and she has a bunch of rats or mice. See, to me that would be more like a devil card right there. But it's, so there's some creepy pentacle cards. This, to me, you know, I'm not a spider person. I know there are spider lovers out there. Can I admire their webs? Yes. But this whole notion of her becoming a spider or being a spider or wanting to snare people with the Seven of Pentacles. And again, you know, if you were to take it sexually, how many crotches does she end up with in that scenario? I don't know. It's all weird. So it might be, in the end it might just be too weird for me. A wasp. A wasp-bodied girl. What looks like a pet. A larva. Pet larva. Maybe I'm too science-minded. Maybe I'm too literal and too science-minded to do this. And I'm not rejecting the deck offhand. I just am having to work through it. This is, I suppose, some of the feeling that some people had with the Marielle, or some of the cards in the Marielle. And I never got the Marielle. I was never on the Marielle bandwagon, just like I've never been on this bandwagon. But I felt like to get the mini, it was pretty cheap, and I could really get my hands on it and decide whether or not it was something I could use in the way I've been thinking. I think this is kind of a sweet card. I like that. That's the Nine of Pentacles. Cute. So there's the Page. This one's got a whip too. Maybe all of the knights have got whips. This is the Knight of Pentacles. Queen of Pentacles. And certainly when you've got something like ice cream and candy and stuff like that, that's sexual in terms, well, I shouldn't say sexual. It's sensual. That's interesting. So this is the King of Pentacles. So very sexually assertive, maybe. Raring to go. And that her whole body is dressed in red. So now we have the Wands. Wands and Swords are left. So, yes, that's interesting. Doesn't, you know, that is, to me, is actually not that creepy. I could see the innocence of that, but, I don't know. Maybe for somebody narcissistic. That's interesting. I have no idea how old Nicole Ceccoli is. Nicole Ceccoli. But I just think that this must be somebody who was raised with the game Candyland or whatever it's called. I wasn't. It came later. I'm familiar with it, but it came later. And this is such, to me, this is so menstrual. This is totally menstrual. What is this? You know, if you're a guy and you like this deck, tell me how. How do you relate to it? This is the five of either clubs. It looks like a club there, or wands. It's just weird. It's pretty darn weird. Looks like someone riding a mosquito. I don't know if you can see, it's got that needle. So this curious elephant with a castle on its back in the background. A desolate. You know, this would be the 6. You know, this would be the victory card. So there's just, to me, there's like a sense of pestilence in the deck, with various things, or mastering pestilence. Name mosquitoes? Okay, so here's one of the actual spanking cards. I thought there was another one that wasn't just the whips like the knights, but I thought there was another one that was a spanking card. Alright, there's the 8 of wands. So again, you know, that's not in any way traditional that I can see or think of. Very weird 9. And I get how that relates to the traditional 9, but if that isn't sort of creepy, threatening, I don't know what is. Maybe this is a deck for people who have a lot of, well, I would think then it would just additionally freak them out. I don't know. I don't think I'm somebody with, I don't know. I mean, I'm just not dark enough. I'm just not somebody who courts darkness enough to really fully appreciate this deck. This is amusing with all the vegetables in it. Is she fleeing? No, she's walking a bug. She's walking a beetle. Looks like a rhinoceros beetle or something. In her elaborate castle of vegetables. I've always thought this card was pretty cool. I've seen this online too, and I do like it. I like the image. Do I like it as the 10 of clubs? I don't know. Kind of the dark bouquet. This is a fun, amusing. This is the knight, as opposed to a knight with a whip that we've seen. There's no whip here. I think I would have switched out this one and put this as the cups, and the other one is the wands. And I also would have maybe put this as a cups instead of a wands, but there we are. And what does this say about our lower regions when we have dragons coming out and attacking? This is the Queen of Wands. And this is weirdly, again, this to me is, there's just something really weird. She's eating the lollipop, and the lollipop is unhappy. And she's getting all messy. Again, I can't say that I'm not against this deck, and I will try it in my own way. I'll do the deck interview, and then I'll try it kind of matched with the, whatever it is, the Wildwood, and see if it works. Alright, Two of Swords. This is the final suit. Three. So again, a pinned butterfly. I guess this time she's more directly pinned in the heart. Five of Swords. This is pretty gruesome. Six of Swords. Here she's more like the Lady of Shalott, who is deceased. What did we have for the Death card? I was thinking that makes a better Death card. What did we have for the Death card? Oh, the one that looks like, to me this looks like Snow White. Is it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 dwarves, or gnomes, as the case would be. Again, I could switch those two cards out easily enough. Between the Six of Swords and the Death card. Seven of Swords. To me, this isn't as, you got a stalker, but it's not as creepy as the Seven of Wands, with that lizard hovering over her, flicking its tongue out. Eight of Swords. Oops. And here's the 9. Are you worrying about big, giant, stuffed bunnies? Is that what's keeping you awake at night? Is that the source of your anxiety? So, that's kind of amusing for that particular card. This is another one that just makes me go, ooh. And, there's just something just really... I mean, the Ten of Swords is pretty bad anyway, but even more so here. The sword has legs. Yep. Ah. Sorry, dog barking. I have 3 dogs under the table. Well, 2 dogs under the table. One directly at my feet. The new dog is just right over here beside me. She spends most of her time sleeping. And dog number 4, my oldest dog, is in her crate. Is this the page? This is the page. I like the image. I suppose it's the Page of Swords because she's up in the air, maybe? I'm not sure. The Knight of Swords. Interesting. Again, she's airborne, so I could see that. That being associated with air. Swords being associated with air. Again, just like this is the Queen. It's like the eye is missing, just like the Ace. where she's eating something that doesn't seem very happy about it. I don't know. And the king. I like the king. I like the King of Swords. And I like it as an image. To me, this would have been more Eight of Wands in terms of rapid communication. But there we go. Here's my lengthy discussion of why I have the Ceccoli Tarot, a walkthrough of the Ceccoli Tarot, what I intend to do with it, how I came by it, my various reservations regarding it. So I will let you go. Again, I'm curious to have any comments about this deck, or my reaction to this deck, whatever. I'm sure that many people love this deck, and so I'm sure they'll think that there's something wrong with me for having all of these weird reservations about it. But in any case, I'm going to go ahead and shuffle it, take some time to shuffle it, and I will do a deck interview with it, and I will post that as well a little later. Alright, take care everybody. Bye-bye.